Hi friends, it's Sajid and today I'm going to be doing the Gaga for Books tag. I really enjoy watching all of the musicians' book tags out there, so I decided that I would create my own. I selected Lady Gaga specifically because growing up she was basically my favorite singer. I really connected with her music and I just loved all of her extravagance. I will always love her music and I will always respect her as an artist. Also, she has a new song coming out later this month, this week in fact, I think, Friday, maybe, I don't know. Eventually it will come out, which I think is exciting because, you know, we haven't seen her in a while, like a good while, so I think this is the perfect opportunity to do this tag. Just a side note though, you don't have to be a fan of Lady Gaga to do this tag. I mean, this should go without saying, but I'm not here to praise or idolize anyone. This tag was just created in celebration of some good music. So without further ado, let's do the Gaga for Books tag. Question number 1, Just Dance. A song about finding fun, happiness, and comfort in a chaotic situation. Find a book/comfort read that can get you through or got you through a difficult time. Earlier this year, I was going through a really rough patch of anxiety, and one day when it got really bad, I just decided to pick up Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Now, although this book was no saving grace and not necessarily my favorite installment in the series, just immersing myself in J.K. Rowling's writing and in the intricacies of the world that she created made me feel a whole lot better. Question number 2, Poker Face. A song about hiding some aspect of yourself and making people unsure as to what is going on in your mind. Pick a book that gave you a vague impression that may have ended up being something you didn't expect. For this one I have 2 answers, the first being Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. This book was very much marketed to be a horror novel and it very much was not. I mean, if you read the back summary and you start to read the book, you're going to be like, oh, this is some real freaky paranormal shit, I can't wait to see what happens. And then you reach 50 pages in and boom, Adam's Family meets young adult fantasy adventure. I also had the wrong impression about Lost and Found by Brooke Davis. I literally thought this was going to be a middle grade story until I started reading it and realized that this was very much written for an adult audience. It's about this little girl who loses her mother and then goes on a road trip across Australia with these 2 octogenarians, and I literally thought that it was going to be a children's book. That's what I thought, and then sex and alcohol happened and I was like, woo, this ain't for kids. Question number 3, Paparazzi. The lyrics go, I'm your biggest fan, I'll follow you until you love me. What is one book or series or author that you consider yourself a huge fan for? I think that pretty much sums everything up for me. Question number 4, Bad Romance. A song about being in a relationship where the romance never really works. Pick a book where you felt the romance was underdeveloped, problematic, or just unshippable. I would have to say Agnieszka and Sarkhan from Uprooted by Naomi Novik. I wouldn't say the romance in this book was bad and I didn't take any issue with it, other than the fact that there was literally minimal interaction between these 2 lovers, and there was no intimacy other than that one time they almost had sex, and that one time they actually had sex. And I know that the romance in this book was only a minor factor, but, you know, if you're gonna cook with some salt, at least make sure we can taste it. Wow, what is it with me and food analogies? Question number 5, Alejandro. I just can't be with you like this anymore. Pick a book that you once loved, but upon reread or reflection, your thoughts have changed. So I might be cheating with this one, but I'll have to say The Help by Kathryn Stockett. The reason why I say I'm cheating is because I actually didn't finish this book, but I am very familiar with this story because I've seen the movie approximately 700 million times. I enjoyed the movie quite a lot when I was younger. I thought it was just very funny, very motivating and inspiring, and I'm not going to lie, I would probably still enjoy the movie if I watch it again, and I will probably ultimately enjoy this book if I read it again, but I do realize now from reflecting and just from research that I've done that there are some very problematic aspects to the story. I'm not going to go into those things now in this video. If you would like to know more, I will link resources in the description down below. Question number 6, Born This Way. Show us your favorite coming-of-age story or a story where the characters went through a lot and from that learned to accept and love themselves. For this one, I'll have to say George by Alex Gino, and the thing about holding up white books is that the light is like no girl. This one is a children's story about a transgendered girl named Melissa. In this book, we follow her as she's just kind of learning to now accept herself and trying to deal with the complications of coming to terms with who you are, as well as trying to make other people understand that. What I loved about this book was that it really stressed the importance of bravery, of just coming out and being out there and telling the world, hey, this is who I am, I love myself, I accept myself, and now it's up to you. And I definitely think that we need to have more children's books like these. Question number 7, The Edge of Glory. A song about celebrating the life you lived on Earth. When you're older and reflecting back on your reading life, what is one book or series that will always stand out? In my last video, I extensively reviewed this book, so I will link that down below, but it is Beauty Queens by Libba Bray. I just don't think that I will ever come across another book quite like this one. It's about these pageant models who get stranded on an island, and it is brilliant. It's explicitly feminist, and it's really geared toward just kind of critiquing our understanding of just women in society, as well as like consumerism and a whole bunch of other things like that. And there's also the fact that I definitely plan on rereading this book, so as an old guy sitting down on my rocking chair and reflecting on my life, this is something that would definitely stand out. Question number 8, Applause. Going very much with the title, pick a fictional character or group of characters that you constantly cheered on and applauded throughout the story. I would have to say both Cress and Eco from the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. Cress in the sense that she wasn't your typical hardball, emotionally detached heroine. She was very shy and reserved and quirky, and she was a normal teenage girl just trying to find herself in this very big, strange, foreign world. And you also have to acknowledge the fact that the revolution would not have happened had it not been for her brilliance. And then there's Eco, who is perhaps the most hilarious character in this entire series. When we were around the middle or so of the series, I thought that they were just going to leave her on a back burner. She was just going to be there for comic relief and whatnot. But in the last book, she really came out of it, and she just slayed. Question number 9, Perfect Illusion. Gaga's new song. Tell us about a new or upcoming release that you loved or are excited to read. And yet again, not surprisingly, I have 2 answers for this question. The first of which is Maria Semple's, what is it called again? Today Will Be Different. I believe it's called Today Will Be Different. And yes, Maria Semple is the author of Where You Go Bernadette, which is one of my all-time favorite books, which is why I am definitely looking forward to this book. The next book I'm absolutely excited for is called Difficult Woman by Roxane Gay. So as most of you know, Roxane Gay is the author of Bad Feminist, which is one of my all-time favorite non-fiction books. This one, however, is a short story collection, and I'm just pumped for it. I don't really know what it's about, but we all know it's going to be feminist, it's going to be awesome, it's going to be fantastic, and I can't wait. I believe it's coming out in January of 2017, which is my birthday month, which is perfect. And question number 10 is the bonus question, where you select your own Lady Gaga song that was not featured on this list. My all-time favorite song by Lady Gaga is Speechless, which was on the Fame Monster album, and I love that song so much. So for this one, I'm just going to, again, go very much with the title and show you a book that left me speechless. And of course, that book is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alide Sainz. I was literally at a struggle to find words when I finished this book, and the words are still not here. The writing in this book is gorgeous. The characters and their development throughout the story was such an amazing experience reading about. But the power of this book was really the relationships shared between all of the characters. It was just marvelous. I still don't know what to say. This book makes me stutter. So that's going to be a wrap. I hope you all have a lovely day. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, inshallah, keep reading.